All right, so I have what I think is a very good and informative video today that I can actually provide a lot of context and just some reason why people like myself are upset and very concerned about the deportations we're seeing, mainly relating to student visas right now and green card holders being deported over pro-Palestinian speech. So I hope this is one of those videos that blow up in the right-wing YouTube sphere, or like the algorithm just likes to push my videos there sometimes to fuck with me. So, um, yeah, what we're gonna cover is we're gonna be focusing on the case of Rumeysa Ozturk. I hope I said that right. Um, if not, I'm sorry. But Rumeysa is a college student who she was a student that was abducted in plain daylight by plainclothes cops. And so we're going to watch that and we're going to read her op-ed. That is the main like earth-shattering evidence or reason for deporting her that they have, I guess. And then we're going to watch Little Marco react to that and kind of talk about it and answer questions about it. And then we are going to take a brief look of like the pro-Palestinian protests. So there's a lot of accusations and things that are always thrown at them. They're pro-Hamas, they are pro-terror, pro-terrorist, whatever. And they're violent, they harass students, and they're anti-Semitic. So we're going to dive into the actual statistics of that. So that's at the very end. Please stick around. Overall, a lot we can take away here. So without further ado, let's watch this video. So we're not going to watch the whole thing, but over here, just pay attention. These are the plainclothes officers, and some are going to come over here, and then Rumeysa is right here. By the way, this woman is not being charged of any crimes. There is no allegations of any crimes. There is literally nothing but attending pro-Palestinian protest and writing an op-ed that we are going to read right after this. Can you just put yourself in her shoes for a moment? Could you just imagine, especially as a woman, being out on the street and you get approached by like 5 people that like have masks on and take your phone from you and start to like literally just close you in? Could you imagine how terrifying that is? This isn't some terrorist or high profile gang member. This is just a student that's here on a visa.
Okay. Can I just close the car? Yeah. Well, I'm trying to, so you react. Okay. Okay, with the police. Okay. Okay. Okay, let's go. Ma'am, you got the Let's do everything, okay? Okay. Take a breath. No, can I see your... Yep. We're going to take it right to the car. Come on. I'll show you everything. Okay. Sure.
Like, it almost sounds like she's having a panic attack, and I would be too.
I understand you're just getting scary. Where the police? Where the police? Where the police?
Yeah, you don't look like it. Why are you hiding your faces?
And then there's another video going around of someone, you can hear him in the background. He's recording it too, and he's heckling the ICE agents and cops. Because this is just weird. Okay, this would be one thing if it was actually like a high profile like gang member or actual terrorist or terrorist supporter. But this is just some girl here on a college visa that protests the genocide that we are funding in Gaza.
Why are you hiding your face?
Yeah. Take everything. Yeah, I'm going to take it. Yeah, we're going to take it.
Yep, and then they take her away. And now I think they sent her to Louisiana. Because that's just where they like to... I heard that they're judge shopping and they go to Louisiana for a reason. I haven't researched that myself. Don't take me on my word for that. let's read her op-ed. And this wasn't just written by her, by the way. There was, four other people? Or, sorry, one, two, three other people. And this is her. So let's read it. It's not too long, but this is what the Trump administration, and what you'll see from Marco Rubio here in a couple of minutes, of how they view this and how they characterize this. And then I'll kind of explain why this is so dangerous. So, on March 4th, the Tufts Community Union Senate passed 3 out of 4 resolutions demanding that the university acknowledge the Palestinian genocide, apologize for university president Sunil Kumar statements, I don't care if it's wrong, disclose its investments, and divest from companies with direct or indirect ties to Israel. These resolutions were the product of meaningful debate by the Senate and represent a sincere effort to hold Israel accountable for clear violations of international law. Credible accusations against Israel include accounts of deliberate starvation and indiscriminate slaughter of Palestinian civilians and plausible genocide. And if you look at all that and scoff, okay, one, you are being incredibly, and I mean this in the most respectful way, but you are being incredibly short-sighted on this issue. And I encourage you to do more research on this conflict. Find a good YouTube video about it or something, obviously from a neutral source. I like war graphics, but like you can, I want you to watch a neutral perspective, because you shouldn't need like someone screaming at you it's a genocide. You should be able to look at this plain face with no one giving you any bias whatsoever and be like, yeah, something is a little bit fishy here. Something is wrong. Like, how are this many civilians dying? How are this many hospitals getting directly bombed? Anyways, unfortunately, the university's response to the Senate resolutions has been wholly inadequate and dismissive of the Senate. The collective voice of the student body, Graduate Students for Palestine, joins Tufts Students for Justice in Palestine, the Tufts Faculty and Staff Coalition for Ceasefire, and Fletcher Students for Palestine to reject the university's response. Although graduate students were not allowed by the university into the Senate meeting, which lasted for almost 8 hours, our presence on campus and financial entanglement with the university via tuition payments and the graduate work that we do on grants and research makes us direct stakeholders in the university stance. While an argument may be made that the university should not take political stances and should focus on research and intellectual exchange, the automatic rejection, dismissive nature, and condescending tone in the university statement have caused us to question whether the university is indeed taking a stand against its own declared commitments to free speech, assembly, and democratic expression. According to the Student Code of Conduct, active citizenship, including exercising free speech and engaging in protests, gatherings, and demonstrations, is a vital part of the Tufts community. In addition, the Dean's of Students Office has written, while at times the exchange of controversial ideas and opinions may cause discomfort or even distress, our mission as a university is to promote critical thinking, the rigorous examination and discussion of facts and theories, and diverse and sometimes contradictory ideas and opinions. Why then is the university discrediting and disregarding its students who practice the very ideals of critical thinking, intellectual exchange, and civic engagement that Tufts claims to represent? Damn, I haven't even read this myself yet. I skimmed it. Wow. Damn, like just citing their own like handbook. That's crazy. You can't lie. She's kind of roasting them here. She's cooking. The role of the TCU Senate resolutions is abundantly clear. The Senate's resolutions serve as a strong lobbying tool and express the Tufts administration the wants and needs of the student body. They speak as a collective voice and the instrumental in enacting systemic changes. In this case, the systemic changes that the collective voice of the student body is calling for are the university to end its complicity with Israel insofar as it is oppressing the Palestinian people and denying the right of self-determination, a right that is guaranteed by international law. These strong lobbying tools are all more urgent now given the order by the International Court of Justice confirming that the Palestinian people of Gaza's rights under the Genocide Convention are under a plausible risk of being breached. The collective student voice is now without precedent Today, the university may remember with pride its decision in February 1989 to divest from South Africa under apartheid and end its complicity with the then racist regime. However, we must remember that the university divested up to 11 years after some of its peers. For instance, the Michigan State University Board of Regents passed resolutions to end its complicity with apartheid South Africa as early as 1978. Had Tufts heeded the call of the student movement in the late 1970s, the university could have been on the right side of history sooner. We reject any attempt by the university or the office of the president to summarily dismiss the role of the Senate and mischaracterize its resolution as divisive. The open and free debate demonstrated by the Senate process, exemplified by the length, open notice, and substantive exchange in the proceedings, and the non-passing of one of the proposed resolutions, together with the series organizing efforts of students, warrant credible self-reflection by the office of the president and the university. We as graduate students affirm the equal dignity and humanity of all people and reject the university's mischaracterization of the Senate's efforts. The great author and civil rights champion James Baldwin once wrote, "The paradox of education is precisely this, that as one begins to become conscious, one begins to examine society in which they are being educated. As an educator, President Kumar should embrace efforts by students to evaluate diverse and sometimes contradictory ideas and opinions. Furthermore, the president should trust in the Senate's rigorous and democratic process and the resolutions that it has achieved. We urge President Kumar and Tufts administration to meaningfully engage with and actualize the resolutions passed by the Senate. This op-ed was written by blah, 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 blah." So, there you have it. That is the op-ed. Now, let's watch how Marco Rubio characterizes this and just, how like what they think of these people. And by the way, this is one case and it's getting a lot of attention, mainly because of the video of her just being abducted. It's getting a lot of evidence, but as he even says here, they have revoked hundreds of student visas. You think the hundreds of student visas they revoked were all terrorist? Okay, the Constitution protects everyone. It applies to everyone. And all of these people are standing up for the Palestinian people who are by all means being genocided right now. And we are funding that with our money. You want to get mad about us sending money to freaking transsexual Sesame Street in Pakistan or whatever? Get mad about this. Our weapons, our money are killing tens of thousands of women and children. Taking down hospitals, doing controlled demolitions of people's homes. Like, this is insane. Okay, I'm done libbing out for now.
Mr. Secretary, a Turkish student in Boston was detained and handcuffed on the street by plainclothes agents. A year ago, she wrote an opinion piece about the Gaza war. Could you help us understand what the specific action she took led to her visa being revoked?
Yeah,
and what was your State Department
I have
role
to
in
sped
that
up a little bit.
process?
we revoked her visa. It's an F1 visa, I believe. We revoked it, and here's why. And I'll say it again. I said it everywhere. Let me be abundantly clear, okay? If you go apply for a visa right now, anywhere in the world, let me just send this message out. If you apply for a visa to enter the United States and be a student, and you tell us that the reason why you're coming to the United States is not just because you want to write op-eds, but because you want to participate in movements that are involved in doing things like vandalizing universities, harassing students, taking over buildings, creating a ruckus, we're not going to give you a visa.
Okay, keep all that in mind. So this is something that I always scream about, and it's how the right wing, how Republicans will take small issues and they will just blow them up and act like they are huge, just like, we need to address this now. This is super important. This is why you're hurting. For example, the freaking 20 trans women in women's sports. Like, you would think that was happening by the hundreds of thousands. There's like 20 cases, okay? Like, spare me. Same with the Social Security fraud. Like, for one, they don't know how to interpret the information they're looking at. What they said was just straight up wrong. But the actual fraud there is less than 1%. And they would take that and manage to blow it up to a point where we think like 50% of Social Security's fraud, and that gives them the green light to cut it. Like, stop letting them gaslight and they just say things.
If you lie to us and get a visa and then enter the United States and with that visa participate in that sort of activity, we're going to take away your visa. And once you've lost your visa, you're no longer legally in the United States, and we have a right, like every country in the world has a right, to remove you from our country. So it's just that simple. I think it's crazy. I think it's stupid for any country in the world to welcome people into their country. They're going to go to your universities as visitors. They're visitors. And say, I'm going to your universities to start a riot. I'm going to your universities to take over a library and harass people. I don't care what movement.
It's not what they're doing.
Why would any country in the world allow people to come and disrupt? Now, we gave you a visa to come and study and get a degree, not to become a social activist that tears up our university campuses. And if we've given you a visa and then you decide to do that, we're going to take it away. I encourage every country to do that, by the way, because I think it's crazy to invite students into your country that are coming onto your campus and destabilizing it. We're just not going to have it. So we'll revoke your visa. And
just remember, okay, they are protesting a genocide. A genocide. Just remember that. So all this playing defense, what Marco's doing here, what all these Republicans that are defending it, you are covering a genocide. Anyways, another point I want to make. This also gives the government, it sets the precedent that the government gets to decide what is and isn't free or protected speech. Like they made it clear. They are deporting these people because they don't like what they're saying. And it's not about violence, vandalism, harassment. As I said at the end of the video here in just a few minutes, we're going to go over that. It is so minuscule. But of course, Republicans will blow it up and because they're masters at this. They are masters at riling people up over very small things.
Visa's revoked, you're illegally in the country and you have to leave. Every country in the world has a right to decide who comes in as a visitor and who doesn't. If you invite me into your home because you say, I want to come to your house for dinner, and I go to your house and I start putting mud on your couch and spray painting your kitchen, I bet you're going to kick me out. Well, we're going to do the same thing.
That's not what they're doing, though.
And create a ruckus for us. We don't want it. We don't want it in our country. Go back and do it in your country. But you're not going to do it in our country. Sure. Just tell me your follow-up, and I'll tell everyone. And depending on your question, I'll answer it or not.
All right, and now invite our Guyanese
representative. Can I get her follow-up real quick? Go ahead. Maybe more. Might be more than 300 at this point. We do it every day. Every time I find one of these lunatics, I take away their visa.
You're saying it could be more than 300
sure,
visas?
I hope. At some point, I hope we run out because we've gotten rid of all of them. But we're looking every day for these lunatics that are tearing things up. And by the way, we want to get rid of gang members, too. So Venezuela sent us a bunch of gang members. I'm sure you've heard of Tren de Aragua, Mr. President. Terrible gang, vicious gang. They flooded.
Bro, they're making all this ruckus, abducting students off the street and deporting them because they don't like what they're saying. We just read the op-ed. What in that op-ed was controversial or offensive or inciting violence or like, what are we talking about? And this is how he talks about it. And then he's like, oh yeah, we're the gangs too. We're focused on those gangs too. Yeah, he had to remember like, oh wait, it's not, we can't just focus solely on that we're deporting people because we don't like what they're saying. We're going after gangs too. Oh, I'm going to lose my mind. So I asked ChatGPT something. I just prompted pro-Palestine protests are normally characterized as pro-Hamas or pro-terror protests. There's also reports of them harassing students and taking over buildings. Are these claims true? How often does this happen? Would you say the majority are peaceful or antagonistic? Pro-Palestine, let me restart. I'm getting libbed up. Pro-Palestinian protests have been diverse in nature, with the majority being peaceful. According to a study by the Armed Conflict Location and Event Data Project, 97% of these protests were nonviolent, and nearly half of those that became violent involved confrontations with law enforcement during police interventions. However, there have been some instances where certain protests escalated into actions such as harassment of students and the occupation of buildings. For example, at Barnard College in New York City, anti-Israel protesters allegedly assaulted an employee during a building takeover. Similarly, at Vanderbilt University, a security guard was injured when protesters broke into an administrative building, leading to an expulsion of the students involved. And yeah, that's acceptable. If you can verify that someone actually, assaulted someone and broke the law, yeah, get them out of here. But going after people exercising their right to protest, right to free speech, the Constitution applies to everyone. Everyone. And remember, these people aren't getting due process or anything like that. This is all at the sole discretion of Marco Rubio and the Trump administration. Like I said, you've seen how they treated this student, broad daylight, over nothing. There's nothing besides this op-ed. Like, and that op-ed was like, I was expecting her at least to like do a nod and wink to Hamas or something for them to be this riled up. But no, there's nothing. That was the most reasonable op-ed I've ever read. A little wordy, but like, what are we doing? And let me finish this real quick. Regarding the characterization of these protests as pro-Hamas or pro-terrorism, opinions vary. Some groups, such as Students for Justice in Palestine, have been accused of supporting Hamas through rhetoric and actions. For instance, a lawsuit filed in Manhattan federal court alleges that Columbia University's SJP had prior knowledge of the October 7, 2023 Hamas attack and coordinated pro-Hamas activities. Additionally, the Anti-Defamation League, oh God, the ADL, I'm sorry, I normally don't like to just straight up discredit sources, but the ADL is just, do your own research on them, on why you shouldn't trust them, has reported that certain slogans at these protests, like "Long live the Intifada," reference periods of violence involving indiscriminate acts against Israelis. It's important to note that while these incidents have occurred, they represent a minority of the overall protests. The vast majority have been peaceful, focusing on advocating for Palestinian rights without engaging in harassment or supporting terrorist organizations. And as we read at the very beginning of that, 97% are peaceful. 97%. And like, I think we need to stop just like, I don't know how you can just look at this and be like, yeah, good, get them out of here. Like, these are more than just names or numbers you're seeing. These are literally humans who haven't committed any crimes and are having their entire life upended because of speech. No violent speech or anything. Literally just speech that our government disagrees with because we are actively funding and covering for the genocide that Israel is committing. Like, we shouldn't be deporting people, revoking visas, green cards, whatever, based on political beliefs. They're exercising their First Amendment rights. Like, the only terrorists here are you. Like, what we just watched in that first video, that was straight up terrorism. Like, what do you want me to call that? Like, I just don't know what to tell you. And, like, I just implore you, please research these cases. There is hundreds at this point of people who have no right to be getting deported. And these are just the student visa, like, ones. Like, you have people who were here on legal status, no crimes committed, getting picked up and sent to a slave labor camp in El Salvador. Like, you don't have to believe me on everything I'm saying, but like, at the very least, I would like to prompt you to go do your own research and stop listening to what Fox News, Elon Musk, or Donald Trump say. Like, these are the biggest liars imaginable, and if you just did a little bit of research, it would be very eye-opening. Like, it's just so annoying. And like, what does this do for you? Does this put food on your table? Does this lower prices? Does this improve wages? Does it give you health care? Like, what is this benefiting? How is this benefiting you? How can you just look at this and cheer this on? Like, I can understand when we actually arrest and whatever, get rid of a actual confirmed gang member or confirmed terrorist, but not all this, because it's going to start with this, and then they're going to keep pushing the limits. They already have a committee for denaturalization of U.S. citizens. If they can do it to them, they can do it to you. Because this is more than just the student visas. This is about all deportations and just sending people to El Salvadorian labor camps. It can happen to you because there is no due process here. There is no trial. The judge says, hey, they can't leave the state. They take them to Louisiana anyways. Like, there's no trial. There's no due process here. It's all their discretion. Like, this is crazy, and no one seems to care about it. They just seem to believe them at their face value when they say they're terrorists and gang members. When that's, for, like, majority of these cases, is just not the case. Go look at all the Venezuelans that were sent to the El Salvadorian slave labor camp for just having tattoos. When independent reporters have verified with our criminal records and their home country's criminal records that these people aren't criminals. Anyways, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. This got much longer than I wanted it to be because I lived out a few times, but like, we need to wake up, man. This is just disgusting. It's disgusting. We are losing our humanity, and it's sad. You should not be cheering this on. You should not. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below, and I'll see you in the next one. If you made it to this point in the video, I just want to give a special thank you. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button down below, and if you really enjoyed it, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button while you're down there. I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. I will try to reply to any and all comments that I can. Until next time, watch that video on screen.